Wrapping up stage one, so just the foundations today, presentation and planning. I am super excited for this lesson because you guys have gotten so much information just thrown at you. You've been implementing a lot of things. You've been practicing a lot of things. You've been having conversations. But you're like, okay, so we do the free assessment, we move on to the comprehensive exam, then what? Okay. And I've done some coaching around this with some of you guys, like, when am I going to be ready to see clients? What's the earliest? What do you think? And I'm like, nah, after today, you should be able to, it's going to be imperfect and it's going to make your pit sweat, but you're going to be able to say, hey, yeah, I could, if somebody called me tomorrow, I could do this. So today we're going to do, comprehensive exam review. We're going to talk about case presentation, making an offer, writing that comprehensive report, my repeatable myo process, plan of care, planning therapy, therapy templates, communication and collaboration, and then some industry lingo. So this is the stuff we went over last time. So let's first start with that comprehensive exam review. So why is this necessary? It's necessary so that you can help the client understand where their myofunctional impairment is coming from. It helps you plan therapy. It helps you build value for the therapy. So when you're doing this, this is the stuff that you already know. So this is from the symptom story. This is from their paperwork, or in my case, the paperwork that they send me, their discovery paperwork, as well as the information that they provide me when they make the appointment. Because remember, in my program, I ask certain things when people make their appointment. So I know where they were referred from, what their goals are, that kind of stuff. So the information that you already know or should know at this point is why this human contacted you, what they want to fix. You know their tongue posture, their mouth posture, their breathing habits, whether or not they have digestive issues, swallowing issues, speech concerns. Is there a history of a tongue tie, habits, speech, dental and ortho history, jaw stuff, sleep, behavior, intention. So that's all of this stuff off of your discovery checklist. Okay. So you're going to be blending 4 elements when you move into case presentation. Okay. So you've got your data collection, you've got your assessment of symptoms. So I call that the symptom snapshot. Sometimes the data says one thing and all of their symptoms say another. I did an exam on somebody yesterday who was a great representation of what Dr. Zaghi says, that some people are more sensitive to a tongue tie than others. Some people will have this really severe tie and they're like, no, not a big deal, nothing's a big concern. And other people aren't going to have such significant restriction, but it's really going to bother them. And the lady that I worked with yesterday, she has mild restriction. I wouldn't say it's her biggest concern, but every movement of her tongue, she was like, oh my gosh. So she was what I consider a sensitive Sally. And I don't mean that negatively. You're going to be looking to educate through the whole process and then case presentation. So I use case presentation. This is not formal case presentation, but it's really telling the client, hey, here's what I see, here's what I think. That's exactly how I roll into that segment of it. The discovery paperwork, are you asking every question? No. And I have said this before, that I have done that with an exam or with somebody during an exam, asked all the questions, and it's an hours-long exam. So you're asking enough questions that you need to get the information to write your report and make recommendations. Sometimes because I get just enough information, or I get so much information from the discovery checklist, I don't ask any more questions during an exam. I definitely always touch on mouth posture, tongue posture, nasal breathing. I do my breathing assessment. But if they've told me, all of these speech concerns or jaw concerns and all of that stuff, I sometimes don't even touch on it unless it's talking about, hey, here's your needs. You've got a ton of jaw issues, here's why I would put you in this type of therapy program. But I always just first ask the questions that I need more clarification on. Okay, so differential diagnosis. So this is the process of differentiating between two or more conditions that share similar signs or symptoms. You have to determine what they have going on. Do they have a tongue tie? Do they have myofunctional impairment? Okay. They have poor sleep. What is it? Is this self-inflicted or something worse? So you're not always going to jump to, hey, friend, you have obstructive sleep apnea concerns. If the human doesn't go to bed till 2 a.m. and sleeps till 11, then you're going to be saying, we might have to work on your circadian, like, first of all, why do you do this? You want to improve your sleep, but if it's self-inflicted, it seems like you have the solutions. And then some people are going to just need help with sleep promotion strategies, circadian rhythm. I have several clients where I'm like, dude, you have to get out of bed and go get some sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning for 30 minutes to reset your circadian clock. So that's kind of what the differential diagnosis is. Number one, we don't diagnose, but you're always going to be thinking about what it could be. They've got all of these symptoms. Is it a tongue tie or is it sleep apnea? Because some of these symptoms I see the same in clients, so, and if they've got this low hanging fruit of a tongue tie, I'll say, oh, hey, let's tackle the tongue tie and then we'll talk about the sleep stuff. So, all right. So a couple what ifs. It's not if, you guys, it's when. Okay, so what if your client doesn't prepare correctly for their exam? You cannot write a report until you get the photos and the paperwork that you need. I do not recommend that you allow them to reschedule. They have just taken up time in your schedule. And right now you might be feeling like, hey, I've got all this free time. Sure, we can do it another time. But they just took an hour or 2 hours out of your time and now they're unprepared and that's their fault, not yours. And so I don't let anybody reschedule, and I don't recommend that you guys get to allow it to be done either. So what I do in that case is I tell them, nope, my schedule does not allow us to reschedule this. We're going to do the best we can. Send everything as soon as you can. Okay, so then I'm kind of going into it blind, but the beauty is I know what I need to know. I know what kind of questions that I have to ask. I know that I need to have them do a breathing assessment. I need to ask them what percentage of daytime hours they're nasal breathing, that kind of stuff. So you're basically scabbing it together at this point. They haven't prepared. I'm not giving them another hour in my schedule, and I'm going to get what I need to be able to finish the report. Okay. So what I tell those people is I can't do anything until I get the rest of your information. So I put in the information that I have into their report and I file it as incomplete until they send it to me, because I'm putting 0% more effort into something that likely will not become a client. Okay. Some do, and some send it to you, and that's okay. You dig it back out. That's why I do put in notes and I do fill out the part of the report that I know, so that then when I get the pictures, I can look at the tonsils, I can look at the Mallampati score. So I use their appointment time to be beneficial to them and to explain the process. It says here, you can decide whether or not to send the offer. Some people, I will send them the offer for a spot in therapy, because if they're going to accept therapy, they're certainly going to get their information to me. But it would also be important to know, hey, is this person going to be a phase 1, 12 sessions, or is this person going to be comprehensive? So you can kind of decide. I have a client who I'm doing this with right now. It's $3,000 or it's $4,000, and 10% off for a payment in full discount. Okay. Some therapists offer an early decision bonus if you accept and pay for therapy in X amount of days. I think when I was trained, she suggested 30 days. I'm not doing that. I mean, if they're going to wait that long, and a lot of people do, you guys. I did an exam yesterday with somebody who this exam has been on her list for a year. So people don't just jump into this right away. So the early decision bonus, I used to do it. It was a pain in the butt. You either want to do therapy with me or not. Dangling that 10% or 5%, I think my discount was 5%. Dangling that to them didn't make any difference. So I decided that I wouldn't offer it. So when they accept therapy, or when you're talking about therapy acceptance, you want to create a sense of urgency, but not be pushy. So this is a little bit easier for me in my practice because legitimately I hold their spot for a week and they know that up front. It says it in my email. This is because I have people who are waiting to want to work with me. So I will tell them, I will remind them of the timing issue. You know, if somebody is saying, hey, we want to have a frenectomy done the beginning of June. And I'm saying, oh, okay, well, it's April. It's the end of April, the end of May, the end of June. So we better get on this. And I will tell people I am not really a pressure person. I don't like to pressure anybody, but friend, you got to put some spank on this. Okay. If they've had a frenectomy, they need me yesterday. They should have started therapy yesterday or 2 months ago, really. So if somebody emails me and they've had a release and they just now have learned about myo and they are freaking out, oftentimes I will say, first you need an exam and you are going to need to start therapy immediately. So oftentimes they'll do the exam and I will do their first session of therapy immediately after. That means they have already that means I've already sent them a price offer. They have accepted, they have signed their consent, they have paid, I've gotten a kit in the mail. So we really push fast forward, but nothing happens until they've made their payment. Okay. And that's the only way that they get that back to back. I never move into therapy if it's not paid for. So I will tell them if they've had the frenectomy already, like we got to put some spank on it. Tell them what happens next. And then I always end it with, hey, reach out if you have questions. Okay. So it's important to win them over. You guys are doing this through the entire process. You need to be professional, always trying to talk highly of the person who referred them, even if it's questionable. This is going to be really hard sometimes because sometimes the people who like, you just want to hit them on the head with a 2x4 because they're ding dongs. You want to be educated. So clients contact me because my name is passed around a lot in the industry. So it's easy to win them over in this scenario. So this is that whole confidence thing. Make sure you know your stuff and listen. Your humans are going to give you a ton of information if you shut your mouth long enough to take it in. Okay. And establish rapport. Personality match is important. I talk about this a ton. You want to be warm and genuine, but be you. You know, my personality is not for everybody. And then somebody else's personality is going to be different than mine too. So I have a specific personality of people I work with. And so it's just really important to be you, because if you're not you at some point, you is going to break through, and then you're going to, people are going to think you're a fraud. Okay. And remember, you do not have to work with everybody. So if there is just something that's really, really awkward, do your best to professionally get through it. And then you can refer them to somebody else who you think is a better match for them. You can change your prices to maybe try and have them not accept therapy. That's questionable, but I've had to do it because I only have so many spots. Okay. So you want to know their concerns. So what are the expectations of myofunctional therapy? What are they expecting to happen? Are their expectations realistic? I did an exam yesterday from a lady whose teeth are stacked on top of teeth, are stacked on top of teeth, are stacked on top of teeth. Like her shark teeth have shark teeth have shark teeth. And those are all of her adult teeth. Okay. So she crowded, you guys. So her goal for therapy on her paperwork said that she wants to, God, how'd she word it? She wants to spread the fascia and enlarge her palate so she can get her teeth fixed. Do you guys think I jumped all over that right at the beginning? Like, yeah, because when I do it, I talk about their goal and I just said, hey, this is your goal. And there's a whole lot more to this. So we're going to talk about this because I right out of the gate wanted her to know that we're not going to fix the fascia and the palate and all of that stuff in a 51-year-old lady. Okay. Can myofunctional therapy help the problem that they want to solve? Okay. Knowing their main concern, that's going to help guide you through the examination. So if their concern is straight teeth, you're going to want to use all of your educational time and information to be centered around ortho, not sleep apnea prevention. And sometimes that's tricky, you guys, because like in her case, her complaint, like I said, her goal was that she wanted to fix the fascia problem so she could spread the palate. And then when I asked her, so why are you here? How do you know what I do? What do you want to fix? And she said, I want to stop being married to the chiropractor because she goes for an adjustment twice a week. And I said, do you want to know what my concern is for you? And she said, yeah. I said, sleep. And she goes, really? Every box in sleep was marked, you guys. She's having 3 night terrors every single night, like clockwork. She thinks it's connected to her gallbladder. Like, because she's working with a health practitioner who says, because she's had her gallbladder out. And me as a health practitioner, I was like, well, that's not the first place I would go with that. So I educated like crap around sleep apnea. I also did an exam on somebody yesterday whose husband had his first heart attack at guess how old? 35. Sleep apnea. So when I'm saying, hey, if their concern is straight teeth, you definitely want to talk about that. But you also, like in her case, she nasal breathes 10% of the time. Like, hey, you want to fix your teeth, but we got all these other things going on, friend. So, but also, she was also telling me that finances are a concern. So I listened. She did not say, hey, Carmen, my concern is money. She made a comment about squeezing something into her single mom budget. Do you think I paid attention to that? Like, oh, this is a comprehensive case and we have single mom budget. So the whole time I knew that a hard conversation was going to be coming up. But I will tell you this. So this slide says, if their concern is about time, don't make it about money. I have a lot of my students who will do that. They just automatically assume that everybody's objection is about money, and it's not. And we're going to learn this when we get into the happy pricing. Because they know, like in my case, my prices are on my website. Somebody pays $225 for an exam. They know that this is going to cost them some money. When you make an appointment with the pelvic floor specialist or the whatever, do you think you're going to have to invest some money? Yes. So we need to stop thinking that that's going to be their objection. And you don't care anyhow, because you're going to know and be confident in the value you bring to the table. But if their concern is about time, you should be talking about how, well, we're going to be very concise and we're going to be efficient and organized. And I'm going to teach you the stuff that has the best bang for the buck. And lastly, to win them over, you've heard me say this again, and you'll hear me say it time and time again. You're going to educate, don't sell. I don't sell a damn thing. I'm an expert. You want to work with me? You know, I told somebody yesterday, like, I'm not the nurse changing the bedpan. I'm the cardiac surgeon. So I'm not apologizing for anything. This is the level of where I am. So you're going to demonstrate the need. And as I'm going through each section of the paperwork, I'm connecting the dots. I literally tell people all the time, are you seeing? Are you seeing why this stuff all ties together? I do that, you know, as soon as I have them do their breathing assessment. As they're doing their breathing assessment, I'm already looking at their paperwork. Do they have digestive issues? Oh, yeah. Oh, and that low tongue posture. Oh, yeah. And rapid eating behaviors. So as soon as they're done with their breathing and I say, hey, you know what I saw? I saw fight or flight. I saw rapid breathing. And I see that you have digestive issues. So let me connect the dots for you. We've got tongue posture. We've got your rapid breathing, which is fight or flight. We've got rapid eating behaviors, which is just the mechanics. You're not chewing well. You have a lot of digestive issues because you're hurrying through your meal. Digestion starts in parasympathetic mode and you're living your life in sympathetic mode. Do you see the connection? And people are like, yep. So that's important. As they understand that their symptoms are tied together, they see the value of the therapy. You have done your job. If the person gets to the end of their exam and you say, hey, do you have any questions? And they say, nope. And my response always is, sweet, I've done my job. So after you're wrapping up, so whether you call it the comprehensive exam, whether you call it the consultation, remember the case presentation just comes at the end of the exam. You're going